Good Friday afternoon, evening, wherever you might be. And if you're in the US, you probably have a Thanksgiving Day hangover. My name is Darren Pope. I'm one of the co-hosts for DevOps Paradox. My other co-host, Victor, will be along in just a few moments. He is in another meeting, finishing up for the day. And we're going to be here talking about the things of the week, which fortunately for this week has been very quiet. Not a lot going on this week. I think everybody is now settling in to that end of year vacation mode. What do you think? Are you? Maybe you are, maybe you're not. We'll see. Once Victor gets here, we'll start going through the news of the week. But if you've not listened to our podcast, we are the host of a podcast called DevOps Paradox. And on Wednesdays, that comes out at 6 a.m. Eastern. And on Fridays, when we're around, which fortunately we are now around more and more throughout. Now, Victor was almost here. Now he's gone. But on Wednesdays, we have the podcast come out. Fridays, we do this live show when we're around. And fortunately for Victor, he's going to be around for quite a while. We'll probably talk a little bit more about that today once he gets in. And how's your week been? Has it been quiet? Has it been busy? Again, in the U.S., lots of Thanksgiving going on. I just finished up my second plate of Thanksgiving. Fortunately, I skipped actually yesterday. We'll talk a bit more about that in a few moments too. Let me check out the comments here as we're coming in. Ingen, good to see you. Karen, good to see you as well. Okay, look. That was all weekend, Ingen, about OpenAI and Sam Altman. How would you like to get fired on a Friday and then be back in charge on Monday? You get the weekend off for real. How's that actually work? There you are, Victor. Actually, no new. It's the same opening music. I don't know why. We haven't changed that in forever. I've been thinking about it, but then Victor tells me not to because of one reason.
What is the reason?
You're just used to hearing it, so you know exactly when to turn around and stop typing on the keyboard.
That's true.
We'd have to reprogram
But
you.
whichever music you put wouldn't be the music I normally listen, so it would work.
Okay, fair enough. How has your week been?
Mine, busy. I'm recuperating from weeks of traveling and going through the emails and then meetings and things like that. So I haven't done anything this week. Anything productive. I've been in meetings and I've been answering emails and things like that.
I actually believe you have done one productive thing. And anybody watching us for any amount of time can see what that one productive thing is.
What is it?
You're looking directly into your camera instead of looking off to the side.
Oh, yes. Look at me. That's advanced. Yes, advanced stuff.
Are you actually using the teleprompter now to look at me?
I'm using teleprompter to look at you, exactly.
See, this is great. I'm just looking at a lens. You're down off into a corner, so I can see a little bit of you moving around, but that's about it.
I cannot do that. I cannot multitask.
I'm not multitasking. It's just out of the corner of my eye, I can see you sitting down here.
That's multitasking.
Oh, okay.
Looking at two places at the same time. If that's not multitasking, what is?
Yeah. Happy Friday to you, Sebastian, as well. Looking somewhat rested. I tend to agree with that. You've been home now for what? Almost 7 days?
Yeah, the full week at home. And it will continue like that for a while.
Let's talk about that. Your next event, in theory, is Paris, KubeCon, right?
In theory, yes. That's the plan. I don't have high hopes that I will stick to it, but at least that's the plan, yes.
And that's the end of March. So that's a long time for you.
Yes.
That's almost pandemic level not traveling for you. Except you're choosing.
Most likely, I will stick to the plan most likely simply because, usually events takes months in advance to organize and, accept the talks and stuff like that. So since I rejected any invites until March, I doubt that somebody will tempt me in the meantime.
Okay. We are, after we finish up this live stream today, which is probably not going to run very long because there's not a lot of news. About OpenAI, I could care less. I'll put it that way. What do you think, Victor?
It's Wild West. Let them kill each other.
Yeah, and we'll just let the chips. But we are going to talk about something in that respect today, which I hadn't planned on. Then I saw something that I threw in specifically, not about OpenAI, but in that space. Should we just get into the news?
Okay. Yeah, let's
just
go
get
to
into
the news.
Let's go to the news. So if everything goes according to plan, which it's not, thank you very much. Quick reminder, if you haven't voted for us for DevOps Dozen yet, please do. We're nominated in 3 different categories. We, as a global we, Victor for Top DevOps Evangelist, the podcast for the top podcast, and then DevOps Toolkit, Victor's channel for YouTube channel for video. Last year he won DevOps Evangelist. This year we won at least that one, if not something else. But we'll see. Voting for this is open until December 31st. So we've got time. Fair warning, if you're not following us on socials, or if you are following us on socials, how do I say this? I plead for mercy because I'm going to start posting things probably. I'm not going to go crazy, but maybe once a day. So hopefully that's not too bad. Maybe twice a day as we get closer. Okay. This week's episode was with Marino from Solo.io. We were talking about service meshes.
Yeah.
And the difference between ambient and not ambient. What was, because I listened to it this morning.
Essentially, sidecars or...
Sidecars or not sidecars, yeah. All those things. And that was interesting. I know there's a use case for it, but I have a feeling it's just another use case that people are using it to solve a problem that they don't have a lot of the times. Isn't that
what most of us do most of the time?
It is. It is. I mean, isn't that the reason why we do this live stream? We're solving a problem we don't have. Yeah. Anyway, that was episode 238. We're quickly approaching episode 250. Which if you've been around, we hope, Patrick, if you're watching today, I don't think you are, but if you are, you'll be getting an email very soon. We usually have Patrick Dubois on our Divide by 50 episodes. And I have this feeling this time it's going to be all about AI for him. Because that's all he's talking about.
That's a very sure bet.
Very, very sure bet. Let's answer this question from Sebastian. Do you think HTTP3 will replace some service mesh features? That's low-level networking for you, Victor. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, service meshes might use HTTP3, right? But I don't think that just by having HTTP3, you will replace service meshes. Assuming that you're using service mesh features in the first place.
Yeah. I also notice right now we have a lot more people with us live today than we normally do. Thank you for being here with us live. The holidays help. Because people aren't sitting at the office or setting at the office.
So they're choosing to watch this instead of eating a turkey?
Well, turkey was yesterday, but you could be eating more turkey today. But in about 20 minutes, football starts. So we may have a quick drop off towards the bottom of the hour, which is another reason why this might be shorter. I'm not watching anything today.
The original football or your football?
American football. I don't think there's any football. God, don't get me started on that. But anyway, podcast Wednesday, 6 a.m. Eastern.
You're not even using feet much in that game, aren't you?
Just to run and kick. Run and kick. That's it. Okay. Podcast Wednesday, 6 a.m. Eastern. Thanks for listening. Also, if you are using Apple Podcast and you've upgraded to iOS, I say Apple Podcast, the podcast app on iOS, if you've upgraded to iOS 17 or the latest versions of 17, it's done something new, and it's not just us, but it's lots of other people. The numbers have dropped really low. I'm not freaked out about it because I can map it back to that. But some people are really freaking out. I mean, we took a pretty big hit. Basically, it doesn't automatically download anymore if you're not listening to it. So if it's a podcast you're listening to on a normal basis, it's going to go to automatically download for you. But if it's something you've stopped listening to, just because, nothing personal against it, you just not listening, then it's not going to automatically download anymore. So therefore we don't get, and that's how we count is on downloads. We can't really count on listens But it's let's just say that wasn't a very pleasant Christmas present to open up in October. That was one of those weird things. Okay. CNCF put out the Platform Engineering Maturity Model. We'll actually have a podcast coming out about this in March. Yes, I know that seems like crazy talk, but yes, we're recording for March already. This is a very interesting paper. If you have any, and this sort of goes into alignment with the episode that I'm editing right now that comes out, I think, in 2 weeks. Chain Guard is next week. So if you're interested about anything secure containers, that kind of stuff, that's coming up next Wednesday. The Wednesday after that, we have Salaboy on, Mauricio, and which is talking about Dapper and some other things. But he gets into platform engineering. Platform engineering is going to be here to stay, just like DevOps is here to stay, just like mainframes are here to stay.
Nothing ever leaves.
That's
Once
the
it
point.
enters, it never leaves.
It's Hotel California. You can check in, but you can never leave. That's all IT is. Anyway, if you links for everything will be down in the video later. Actually, maybe later today because I'm actually off today. I might be able to get it done today. If not, it'll be there tomorrow. This is a very interesting paper to read and understand. I don't want to go into it a whole lot more right now, but I wanted you to, if you're having to deal with this in your organization, take a look at this. We'll leave it at that for now. Okay. Going back to Thanksgiving and eating turkey. Cloudflare already wrote a blog post about this. So do hackers eat turkey and other Thanksgiving internet trends? Again, this came out today, so this is timely. This is a real thing. So the Thanksgiving hour around 1 p.m. local time. No, I'm sorry, 3 p.m. local time. I can't do math, date math. 3 p.m. So most people will eat at 3 p.m. In fact, my wife went up to eat with her brother yesterday for Thanksgiving. I had to stay here. And they were supposed to eat at 3. Now, I wonder if this is really what happens. Because sometimes you say, hey, we're going to have, has this ever happened to you, Victor? Hey, we're going to have lunch at noon. And you finally get around to eating lunch at 4 p.m. Has that ever happened?
We could never even imagine where I live to eat anything at noon. So,
Oh, okay. Anyway. So they talk about where everything drops off. So you can just sort of see this is the, of course you can't see my mouse, but it's going from November 19th on the left all the way up until yesterday, and then things are back up to normal today. Wait till Monday when cyber deals all start. Wait. This was interesting. Central U.S. states such as Kansas, Iowa, Alabama, or Mississippi apparently had an earlier Thanksgiving, given the biggest drop-off was around 1 p.m. Coastal states, Washington, Florida, Maryland, Delaware, had a later, around 5 p.m. I don't know.
I would have expected the drop to be full day, starting early morning, right? Or night before, because I'm guessing that it's not that you work until Thanksgiving lunch, and it's probably a whole day event, right?
It's supposed to be, but some people go out and still maybe work in the morning and then eat in the afternoon. I don't know. I don't know. But here's all the drop-off
I thought,
times.
and I might be wrong, that Thanksgiving is the time of the year when most people in US are traveling. I don't know, family living somewhere else, things like that.
Yeah. Well, that and Christmas. But yeah, I mean, it depends. So here's the map of drop-offs. Nothing to me seems really extreme until you get up to North Dakota, which is in the top center at 36% down. But that's just because they're all hunting. So you were talking about an all-day thing. They went out in the morning, so they didn't even get online that day. They didn't need to. Okay.
Okay. Hunt your own turkey type of stuff.
You could. Or deer.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, that was an interesting post from Cloudflare, but I wasn't even going to bring this up, but it showed up this morning, actually just a couple hours ago. But the reason why I actually brought Cloudflare in today was they have a Workers AI update. So Workers is their serverless functions, for lack of a better term.
Okay.
That's what Workers is. So they've got stable diffusion and Code Llama in 100 different cities. So yeah, you can run stable diffusion locally if you want. You can run Code Llama if you want, but why would you want to? And if you're looking for something besides OpenAI, and this is the key part here for me, if you're looking to use something besides OpenAI, which appears to be the best at this point, quality-wise, but now you could use stuff from Cloudflare and from many other people.
I thought, and I'm most likely wrong, I thought that AI workloads, right? Generating them and calculating stuff and whatever you're doing, that does not really depend much on latency, right? It's not that you're bombing it, it's crunching numbers. So I'm not sure why would that matter how many cities it's in.
To me, it's the distributed nature of it.
Fair enough.
If I am going and making a call against OpenAI right now, it goes to one AZ or region.
Yeah.
That's why I like it. I'm air quoting hard, like it. But so they have stable diffusion, so you could generate images. Great. If you want to do that, it's as simple as a little curl, just like anything else. Have your account ID, have your token, and now you can just get it back without having to leave. Well, you leave your machine, but without having to pay OpenAI.
Nice.
Right? Now, you would have to pay Cloudflare. I don't know how much the cost is. But then they have the same variation of that for, you can do it, you can code with it, which is also nice. But then you can generate code with Code Llama. Same type deal here. Generate some unfortunate TypeScript, but yeah, that's the way Workers work. Or you can use curl, which is even better. Or you can use Python. That's it, 100 cities. Let's see what they said here. Ambitious target to support worker AI inference in 100 cities by end of year. That's where they're going. And nearly everywhere by the end of 2024. That's darn amazing.
Very cool.
Okay. So let's see here. Martin, good to see you. Good that it's not just Microsoft / OpenAI. That's the way I feel about it. I think the loser in this right now is Amazon or AWS.
Probably.
By the way, anybody going to reInvent next week? I'm not. You're not going to reInvent.
Oh, I'm not. No, I never went to reInvent, but it's going to be AI. I'm pretty sure of that. Simply, it's such a big market and such a big demand that no vendor can avoid it.
Ignore it. Yeah.
Ignore it, exactly.
Did you have something else?
Yes, always.
You were going to say, I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Okay.
I see the comment that I switched from ChatGPT myself privately to Bard. I feel it works better.
Define works better.
And I know that nobody shares that. The results I'm getting simply better fit what I need.
And that's for what use case? Without going too deep.
Anything from me being lazy and asking it to generate some code to basically I replaced search with Bard.
That seems a bit strange.
I don't know. I mean, unless I'm wrong, it does use, among other things, search behind, right? So
that's true.
I feel I'm getting accurate results.
Yeah. If it seems right, then it must be right, right?
Yeah.
You were talking about code generation. Code Whisperer from the command line.
That's AWS, isn't it?
That's AWS.
You just said they're losing.
I think they're losing.
But yes. Yeah.
So a new set of capabilities, integrations for Code Whisperer, so CLI. Now, right now, it's only macOS.
I feel that the advantage that Google and Microsoft have is that they, especially Google, and to some lesser degree Microsoft, they reach the point where people use their stuff even if they're not married to their cloud offering, right? You might easily choose to use Microsoft or GitHub Copilot or Google Bard and things like that without running your stuff in Azure or Google Cloud, right? And I feel that that's not happening much with AWS. Mostly people that it's mostly geared or marketing or perception that AWS stuff is for those using AWS. It's just an impression. I cannot back it up.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that, but isn't that true typically we could say the same thing of Azure and we could say the same thing of GCP?
No. So
why not?
There is a strong chance that you're using GitHub to begin with, including GitHub Copilot, let's say, without using Azure, right? That's a quite strong possibility.
Okay.
Or to choose Bard if it ever kind of reaches popularity without using Google Cloud, right?
Okay, fair enough. But anyway, IDE style completions for over 500 CLIs. I didn't like how they were first setting this up, but I'll buy it. Previously, typing a CLI like Git and hitting tab wouldn't show you any completions, or you get an incomplete list of completions in a clunky interface. Okay, somebody is using AI to write this without descriptions. But now you can type Git and see all the Git subcommands. So if you follow the image that's happening here, it will tell you all the things that need to happen.
Isn't that what Z Shell or my ZSH is doing already for like 5 years?
To an extent. And that's what I'm saying.
Necessarily, it's such a nice interface. I see the drop down, kind of like it. Yes.
But I agree. That's what I'm saying is I'm used to OMyZSH and using Z Shell, so completions are a very normal thing to me. But I have a feeling this is an expansion on that. Let's call it. I'm not going to say it's better. I'm just going to say it's expanded. What I don't like about this, though, is it has to leave my machine to do that kind of work. I don't like that. That's my problem with it.
Leave? It's not local, you mean?
It's not local.
Okay, forget it. Next.
Well, I'm assuming it is, right? So what I need to do is set up Wireshark and do the things and see what happens. That's what I need to do. But if it is leaving, I don't like that in general. But anyway, it's available.
I'm imagining that if it's leaving, that it would be fast enough, right? There must be, it takes time.
Well, here, let's do this. How do we install it? Well, you have to. Here, let's check Brew for a second. Let's see if it's there yet or not. Because we can, we have a minute. Code Whisperer. I can't type.
Hey, if it's not in Brew, forget it.
Yeah, it's not there. Well, that's what I was noticing here too, is that you have to download a DMG, which, Brew could handle, but I don't know. I am going to try it out this weekend just to see what it is. But this one is interesting. Natural language to bash. So copy all the files from this directory to S3. So let's see what it says. All the files in this directory to S3. And it generates, then it runs the command. Yeah, writes it out for you.
That's one of the things I'm all sold, and I'm using it with increased frequency, natural language for many things. Mm-hmm. But the command line, I don't know that to me that's easier, except maybe the first time, than just having a command.
Right.
Maybe first time, right? But
yeah,
especially things I do frequently, command is the fastest thing I can imagine, right? And very, very precise. Yep.
What Sebastian says here, it looks like ID completion for shell, which is nice. Yeah, it's for people who can live in shell. It's good. But again, if it leaves the machine, I'm not happy about that. Because if they're only, as it says here, 500 plus CLIs, which is a great number, but it seems like you could, I heard the phrasing the other day, we've heard LLM, large language models. I heard the phrase the other day, SLM, small language models. Like if it's only 500 CLIs and all the different options, I have a feeling that could be compressed pretty tight. What do you think?
I have no idea. But now I'm writing a note for me that I need to try this out.
Okay.
I just need to figure out how to disable, probably maybe start using Z shell for that, right? Because I definitely don't want them to compete.
Correct. So something else that I think you may want to put on your list of things to do. You're welcome. I saw this blog post today about collecting logs in Kubernetes with Vector. Vector, okay, hadn't heard of that.
Okay.
And this is from Polark. So in the notes, I'll have the link to this blog post. But what is Vector? Well, okay, so I can do it. They tell you backstories and everything else here. But what it does, it's an open source project from Datadog to where you can give it a source, give it a target, and then you can transform in the middle. And this is, I'll go ahead and go to Vector. So if we take a look at the examples, you have sources, sinks, and the transforms in the middle. Why Vector, blah, blah, blah. You can distributed, centralized, or stream-based. And it doesn't have to be Kubernetes, which is what caught my eye.
But it's a vector database, right?
No.
I guess
No, it's not.
The main advantage. Okay. It's just called vector. Okay,
it's called Vector. Yeah. That's okay.
Don't do that.
It's been a long day. So it's a single binary. So you can run it in a container, locally, whatever. It doesn't matter. So let me go to the docs because the docs are better than the home page. So, and did I not zoom in? I didn't. Okay, here, we'll do that. So the quick start, which is where we should always go first, right? How good is the quick start? So you do the installation, check out Vector. So you set it up. So the sources, you can say standard in, and the outputs, you can say the inputs from in, there's the in, console, and then out to text. So wherever you type, it'll basically echo out. That's their hello world. Right? But let's look at where am I? Configuration. Sources. Don't look at the blocks in the center. Look at the left nav, which I'm trying to scroll now. So you have all of these different sources that you can take. I'm thinking file is pretty interesting, right? But then I get down here
Kubernetes
because...
logs.
Kubernetes logs. Yep.
There we go.
Well, but I'm two above that because I still deal with bare metal enough journal D.
There we
So
go.
I can, right? You can even have nats as a input, as a source. Statsd, standard in, syslog, vector itself. Let's look at the sinks, then we'll come back to the transforms. Because these are all out of box. So all the AWS things that feel like it's there, the Azure type things that are the things. Obviously Datadog, because it's open source from Datadog. Elasticsearch, file, Honeycomb, all the GCP stuff. Influx,
Sorry,
Kafka, Loki.
I thought that vector would be a sink is a place where you're going to store it, right?
Correct.
I thought that vector is a storage. So what is it?
No,
then?
Vector is the name. Vector is the name of the project that does the sources and sinks. That maps the sources to the sinks.
Okay, it's like Fluent D type of, I'm guessing. Okay.
Right, but a lot broader than that.
Okay, now I get it.
Right, I could even send it out to a WebSocket. Right, there's just all sorts of places. Now, let's take a look at the transforms, because that's what matters. Dedupe, filter, log to metric, metric to log, reduce, route, just all the typical things in the middle.
Yeah, I don't want to do transformations ever again in my life.
Exactly.
Honestly, kind of. It's always painful, and it never ends up with a positive result. My logic is either we all agree on the format, or just ship it as is and let it figure out when the time comes to query, right? Ultimately, I think I like that latter kind of like, okay, those are the logs, ship it, store it somewhere, and then have a system that is kind of semi-intelligent that will allow me to find the information no matter what is the format, right?
Yes. Sebastian, I see your question about OpenTelemetry collectors. I'm questioning, see, OpenTelemetry is a source. So this is,
Correct.
to me, this is the, like, to me, this is the big rail yards, right? To where we can take in anything and route it back out to wherever.
Exactly.
I mean, this isn't anything. And here's the funny thing. The first time this came out was in 2019. Here we are, more than 4 years later from its first release, and never heard of it before.
Me neither. Now you surprised me because I was sure that you're talking about. I was about to comment. Heck, they just started a new project and they already support all that. That's absolutely amazing. Now I'm not so thrilled anymore.
It looks interesting, right? Because if I needed to, like, this is one of those things to where, how do I get my logs somewhere else? Okay, there's ways to do it. But now I could have a single way to take care of all this in and out stuff. Instead of having to come up with, okay, on this system I have to do it this way. With this system I have to do it this way. Now I can say, I'm using Vector to do all the things.
Yeah, but I thought that other solutions in the market are already doing that, right? Like FluentD, which is the one I use most of the time. As far as I know, it supports also anything.
Yeah. But anyway, Vector. Just hadn't heard of it before.
Yep.
I almost had to fight you on this.
Fight me.
But I can't, because it is all events. It shouldn't be monolithic. But here's the problem. You have a monolithic flow in between events.
Oh yeah, so
unless your event is a single step, or unless your flow is a single step.
So what I was really trying to say is not that we don't need pipelines anymore, right? We definitely need them, right? I'm just saying we have pipelines and we have other things, and we should continue using the tools that we are using. We just need to break them into smaller chunks, and all the existing solutions can run. Kind of nothing prevents you from taking X and instead of having one big pipeline to have 5 smaller pipelines. Tools still do the same job. It's just a problem of how we organize them and how we visualize it when there is more than one.
Visualization is hard.
Yeah.
I think that's all I'll say about that. Visualization is hard.
Exactly.
I want to go back to one question that Raz had earlier about Radius. We talked about Radius a few weeks ago, and that was the rebranding of, what was it? It was a B word. Bicep. Yeah.
I'm not sure whether it's rebranding. Bicep is a tool system format. A tool with a specific and a format to manage Azure resources. Right now we have Radius that happens to use the same format for something different. Actually, initially you asked me what I did, and I said I did nothing. Actually, now I realize that I lied. I spent some time with Radius, and I'm not impressed at all.
Why are you not impressed?
I don't see the point. I see the point, but I feel that it is doing the things that we're already doing for a while, and I expected something really different, something new, it was such a big announcement. I thought, okay, so this is going to be something world changing, something, right? No, we have those things for a while now. The first one that comes to my mind, what's the name that in the Hashi thingy that was released like years ago? We commented on it a couple of times.
Talking about Waypoint?
Waypoint, yeah. It's a waypoint. And I honestly don't buy into Bicep as a format. I don't see the point in that either. I understand how for existing Bicep users who use it to manage Azure infrastructure, I understand how that is a good thing because you can continue leveraging your existing knowledge. But for everybody else, I'm yet to understand why it's Bicep. Sorry, Microsoft. I haven't spent months with it, so somebody might be more experienced with it, and please correct me.
Yeah, I'm looking at what is Microsoft Radius, a client server protocol that enables network access equipment. So this is the old Radius. So this is a problem with other companies is you keep reusing the same name to mean different things.
Okay, that might be, yeah.
Let's see what TechCrunch had to say. An open source application platform for the cloud native era.
I don't think it's a cloud native era. I think it's rehashing of the same concepts from before. What I give them as a big credit is, unlike others whom I'm not going to name, they made an open source project that is truly open source. They released something that out of the box from the get-go supports equally well Azure and AWS and Kubernetes and not only Azure, which is absolutely amazing.
Well, what is interesting is it works with Azure and AWS now, GCP coming soon.
Exactly.
It's the same team that did Dapper and Kata and Copacetic.
Yes.
Right? So, but you're just still head scratching going, why?
It's why, exactly. I think it's rehashing of the old concepts and things like that. They're not necessarily bad, but it happens very often that I fail to see, I cannot answer whys and whats. And then, I don't know, months from now, I will maybe come to a Friday show and say this is the best thing after peanut butter. Maybe. But for now, I'm failing to... My brain is failing to see a convincing story in that.
Speaking of stories, I'd forgotten about this until earlier today. So Broadcom finished up the acquisition of VMware this week.
Mm-hmm.
And we know people that work at VMware.
We know people who work and we know people who worked.
True. So here's the announcements this morning as of Friday. So the CEO is gone. Not surprising. But they're breaking up VMware as we know it into 4 groups.
Okay, I don't know that part, so tell me more.
This just came out today. So the first group is focusing on Tanzu. That's the first group.
That's
second
the future
group,
bread and butter.
Well, that bleeds into the second group, is dedicated to commercializing VMware Cloud Foundation. That includes Tanzu as well as vSphere and everything else. So Tanzu by itself, and now the new platform, buzzword of the day, that has Tanzu and everything else. Okay?
So it's the future milking cows and the current milking cows.
Correct. Then the 3 and 4, not specified other than saying application networking and services and security. And then finally, software-defined edge units. And when I see the word unit, I'm thinking physical. And Broadcom is physical, right? So this gives them the ability now to put software they control into the edge.
My limited knowledge or experience, if I would have to place a bet, which of the 4 cases or groups is the main reason for acquiring them, I would say the last one.
The edge units? Or the software part of it?
Broadcom. I mean, no. Kind of combining VMware, which is primarily software company, right?
Yes. Yeah.
With Broadcom, which is hardware company, right?
Right. That's where I'm feeling is this, even though this is just sort of an oh, by the way, I think this is the big one. The other thing, too, is Broadcom has a goal of more than doubling VMware's EBITDA, or earnings before blah, 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 to $8.5 billion within 3 years of the completion. So they're going to try to double that number. So I guess it's 4.25 now to 8.5 in 3 years.
They're doubling by reducing to begin with, by reducing the cost by approximately 30% already from the get-go.
Right, just by laying off people.
Exactly.
Yeah. So do more with less. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but that's a normal thing. Every company does that, right? Kind of when you acquire somebody, you don't keep, because all those companies have accumulated that weight.
Yes.
And
then you've got real duplicates too. Right? You have duplicate marketing, you have HR, those kinds of things.
Exactly. It would make no sense if there are no layoffs.
Right. But then it'll get interesting.
For the people there, but yes.
Well, it'll get interesting is how deep does layoffs go into the software side? That will be the true telling of what's happening, I think.
From what I gather from individual cases, it goes deep.
Okay. Sebastian says, and their prices seem to reflect that goal. Yeah, that's okay. Actually, let me pull this one up here real quick too. Let me go back here. I hope your prediction that we're going into the consolidation phase for Kubernetes tooling will come true. Radius just seems to be adding to the problem of the famous XKCD comics about standards. Yes. We've got 14, we need a new standard, so now we have 15.
I think that, and that's part of my problem with Radius is that I think that type of, call it standardization or simplification, or that should be layered on top of Kubernetes, right? Rather than a CLI of sorts or whatever they're doing.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that's it for this week. Are you going to be here next week? Of course you're going to be here next week. You're not going anywhere.
I'll be here until Friday. Until Paris. That's the plan. 1 week I will be out, a few weeks from now, and that's it. The rest I'm here.
Which week are you out?
I don't know.
Oh.
I
can tell you which week I'm going to be out. It's the week of Christmas.
First. I will be the week of 4th of December.
Oh, so you're not going to be here that Friday? Yeah. Tell me about
Friday,
that.
No.
No. Okay.
No. No. I can.
Is that next Friday?
Yeah.
That's
No.
Friday.
The Friday after next. I will be. I will do the stream, just not from this location.
Right. Okay. Well, if we need to cancel, but the Friday after Christmas, whatever that 30th, 29th, 30th, we're not doing a show that week either.
Okay.
I can't do it that week. I'm not going to have gear with me where I'm going to be.
That's fine. That's perfect.
Are you sure?
Fine. Am I sure that you're allowed to take a break?
To take a week off?
I'll think about it. With the financial leverage I have over you,
that's true.
I reserve the right to deny you vacation.
I'd forgotten about this. Broadcom acquired CA years ago. Broadcom is an interesting acquisition machine.
Yeah,
I'd forgotten that.
This is probably me, but it's one of those companies. I know that they're massively big. I don't honestly know exactly what they're doing. It's me. I blame it on me, not being informed, right?
So the technology that Victor has if he takes it off, it'll look really weird. That sounded weird, just within itself. Basically, in front of his camera, he has a piece of glass that's reflecting back the screen.
Yeah,
so he's able to look at me. It's a teleprompter.
Exactly. So there is a here below. There is a screen that is one of my monitors. It goes up into a 45-degree like this angle mirror, and mirrors. If there is somebody who doesn't know, mirrors are basically reflecting only in one direction, right? If you take your normal window from the bathroom and look at it from the other side, you will see through, and that's how camera sees through. But I see the reflection.
Yeah, let me share this real quick because I can show you. This is not what he has. I don't remember which one you do have.
I don't know, but I know which one I'm getting in March.
Which one are you getting? The Elgato one?
Elgato. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I'll show you that
Yeah.
one. So this is not what Victor has, but this is basically what he has. Let's go look at the Elgato
same
one.
logic, yeah.
So the Elgato one, yeah, I was bummed that it's not shipping till March. So the Elgato one is here. Whoops, cameras there.
Actually, part of the stream I was absent because I saw the Black Friday email I just got in the middle of the stream, and I thought, is it? No.
Oh, from Elgato? Yeah, I saw that one
Yeah.
too. I was sad. Yep, so that's what it will look like for him. This appears to be, it's not the greatest thing, but it's perfect for what we need, I think. Because I don't read scripts. But being able to look at somebody in the eye makes a difference.
And I mean, if you read scripts and stuff like that, that's still fine because normally you sit close to the camera, right? I'm kind of this distance, it's relatively close, right? So you can easily read. I cannot easily read what you're showing on a screen though, but script, like, yeah, you just increase the size of the letters and it works perfectly.
Right. Let's see if we can answer a couple of these questions real quick too. From Vrash again, what's your favorite Kubernetes related project? I don't know. Which one could it be, Victor?
I can tell you what's my second favorite Kubernetes project.
Okay.
No, I don't know. I didn't think about it. I just said it to say something. I don't know. I mean, the projects I really like, Kede is awesome.
Yeah.
Dapper is great. I like Octeto. Depends. Okay, so let's put it this way. If you can type fast, ask me for which area of Kubernetes, because it's so wide, and I'll give you a straight answer. Right?
His is KubeVirt, at least for now.
KubeVirt, yeah, if you want to manage virtual machines, KubeVirt.
Remember the Raspberry Pi? Yes, I have a stack of Raspberry Pis in my garage, actually running. Raspberry Pi has actually run part of this show. That's a different conversation. Okay, we'll be back next Friday. What else? Actually, wait, I just had another comment come in. Let's see. Oh, Bill had a good idea. Flux and CMPG.
Yep, Flux is awesome, and CMPG is my preferable way to run databases. Postgres, to be more specific.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'd forgotten about this.
Sorry, when I'm not allowed to use a service, always service first.
Yep. Martin reminded me of this. I forgot. The chips in the Raspberry Pis are all Broadcom chips. I totally forgot about it. Or the main unit chip. So, should we see this one? Yeah, we need to show this one more time. Yes, that's what we're holding out for in March. I'm not going to pre-order either. I'm just going to wait. Because here's my hope.
See the reviews. But
now,
so far,
they're okay.
So far, Elgato never disappointed me. It's a middle price. It's not cheap that I throw away after a week, and it's not really it's not expensive either. It's not professional thing. So it's kind of somewhere in the middle, just the right space, I feel, in general.
Yep. What I'm holding out for, though, is I wonder if they're going to have a second model that's going to be the Pro model that's just a little bit bigger.
Okay.
Not huge, right? But because this is 9-inch, if I remember right. Does that sound right?
So I want the same thing, but probably for a different reason than you.
Okay.
I would like a bigger, like double the size that I'm using right now, and then it would be sufficient. I mean, reading script and stuff like that, or seeing people, like I'm looking at you now,
Yeah.
no problem. But if it would be, let's say, double the size, which is still relatively small, I would use it permanently as a second monitor.
Right. Exactly. Because
Right now, I'm using it only for streams.
Right. So if it was 17 inches, you could use it as a reasonable second monitor.
Exactly.
It won't be that big. You could build your own second.
Exactly.
You could build a 17. I actually thought about building a 24. Because I got
I mean,
spare
as long
24
as you
inch.
have a bigger mirror, yes.
Yeah. And those mirrors are expensive.
Exactly.
Those are really expensive. They add up to be. Anyway. Oh, I'm not even on screen. Okay. Doesn't matter. Okay. So we will be back next Friday, and hopefully there's more news next week. But I have a feeling that I think everybody's getting ready for holidays.
Holidays, exactly. That's it. Holidays are upon us.
I do want to call out this one from Romans. It acts like a full-fledged monitor, but the problem with it is it's not a, how do you say this? It's not a real monitor. Like you don't plug in HDMI to it. It's all USB, so it's all data, and then it's not a monitor as a classic monitor is.
What's missing? I'm curious.
You
What
can't.
makes it not a monitor?
Well, you can't change hue, saturation, color temp.
Okay.
Yes, it's a monitor, but it's not a. You think about all the buttons you have on a monitor. It's not the same.
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. And from no speakers and what's not. Yeah, which is probably what you want, right? You don't want to,
Right.
You probably wouldn't want to pay more for that than you have to, right?
Right. And for $300 for this, US or $280, whatever it is, it's reasonable. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just sad because my daughter asked me what do I want for Christmas to make a list, and I really want to put that one. That's the only thing that I want that I don't have already.
Yeah. It's interesting. We hadn't even talked about that, and we both want the same thing. We're nerds. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your weekend or week, and enjoy the weekend. And we'll see you again next week.